Don't roll your eyes at me. It's not like I could have known beforehand. Okay, let me back up a little. My name is Emma Collins, and I just began working toward my master's in engineering. All those jokes online about there being no girls here weren't understatements. There are literally classes with 20 people in it, and I'm the only one who doesn't have something hanging between their legs. You'd think that would make dating easy, but I was only there to get my degree and get out. I wasn't about to get bogged down in a relationship. I didn't even want to have a fling with anyone in my class because as soon as word got out that I'm looking to hook up, and yeah, I'd like to think people would brag about being with me, I'd have to start beating them off with a stick. But you can't expect a girl to study all day and night and not have a little fun, can you? I tried Tinder just so people would flirt with me and I could brutally reject them and feel good about myself. Harmless fun, right? Last night, I swiped a sweet-looking guy who went to my university, wasn't an engineer, thank God, and shared my undying passion for Rick and Morty. He made me laugh, or at least snort air, and when he asked to get a drink, I couldn't think of any reason not to. The pub was close, so worst comes to worst, I would at least get a free drink out of it and could still be home early. He texted to say he'd be a little late, but he was already there when I arrived. Same dude as the photo. That's a relief. He was even wearing the same clothes. Either he just set up his account today, or he wore the stuff from his photo so I'd recognize him. Either way, it didn't bother me as long as he wasn't some fedora-tipped whale. And damn was he charming. We just clicked on everything. Both big Ramones fans, read Stephen King, watched the same shows, hated the same politicians. Looking at you, blonde hairpiece. It was like this guy was specifically designed just to be perfect for me. I guess I should have taken that as the warning sign. One free drink turned into four, and I don't know whether he asked me to come home with him or I just jumped in his car and let him figure it out, but we were headed back to his place when I got a weird text. "So sorry I'm late. Where are you?" It was from the guy I met on Tinder. But that was impossible. I was in his car right now. I figured it was just a bad connection which stopped it from coming through earlier, so I decided to text back so he could read it later and laugh. "You missed your chance. I went home with your twin brother." Well, I thought it was funny anyway, until he texted back again. "Haha, I don't have a twin brother. Are you still at the pub?" I looked between the phone and the driver. The car was dark, but it wasn't dark when I met him in the pub. He was the exact same person from the photos. The guy was pulling into his driveway now. He put his hand on my leg and smiled at me. I should have asked questions right there. I should have just got out of the car and run home. I should have done anything except what I actually did, which was kiss him. We went inside together and it was dark, but when he pushed me up against a wall, I didn't fight it. Not until the handcuffs clicked over my wrists. Okay, so we don't have all the same interests, but I was cool. I could roll with it. I strained against the restraints to kiss him again, and that's when he put the gag over my mouth. Now this was getting too much. I tried to pull away, but he forced me to the ground. There was a trap door leading down to a basement, and he let go of me to open it. I was able to roll over and look at him, but it wasn't the same person who had stood next to me a moment ago. His back was hunched, and he was moving with rapid, lurching movements. His eyes were hollow like he hadn't slept in days, and his mouth was a thin, bloodless line. That couldn't have been the same mouth I'd just kissed. I tried to scream, but the gag muffled most of it. I tried to kick, but he just took it and shoved me through the trap door. I rolled down a ladder and hit the concrete ground hard, like I could feel my bones rattling and blood in my mouth hard. Then the light above me disappeared. Was he just going to leave me here? But he hadn't left me. He was on my side of the door, climbing down the ladder toward me. Just play dead. Don't answer it. I don't know which was more frightening, the fact that I'd been kidnapped or the fact that I wasn't the only one. I was too focused on myself at first to notice, but as the creature descended the ladder toward me, I saw them huddled against the wall. One woman was wearing a torn business suit. Her face was 2 pools of blood where her eyes used to be. One college girl my age, her hands sealed tight in constant prayer from a nail which pierced them together. One little boy, this one couldn't be more than 12, sitting against the wall with his knees pulled up to cover his face. Don't even make a sound. Whatever you do, don't reply to him, the professional woman said. I nodded my head to show recognition and lay still where I had fallen. It was hard to control my breathing while I heard his feet approach. What would he do if he thought I was dead? It couldn't be worse than what he had already done to the living girls, right? Thump, thump, thump. The voice above me drawled. It was still my date's voice. I can hear your heart singing for me. How does someone even know how to react in this situation? I tried to think of every crime show about psychopaths I had ever seen. What did the victims usually do to escape? But they didn't escape most of the time, did they? That's why the psychopaths became famous, because there were so many who didn't escape. I bit my tongue to keep myself from screaming. Look at me when I'm talking to you. The voice continued, but it was deeper now. Was he continuing to change? Was it still a man or something else standing over me now?
I couldn't help myself. He already knew I was alive and I had to look. I pulled myself up to my knees and stared into his face. He still looked like my date, although I wish he hadn't, but something wasn't right. It was like seeing a photograph of someone, only the photo is 50 years old, taken on an antique camera. Those eyes were still kind, even though they looked wearier now, and I could remember what the smile looked like on his tightly pressed mouth. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. The college girl groaned. Their strategy didn't work for them, so why would I just surrender to the torture? If there was a way out, I was going to find it. And if there wasn't, well, at least I'll have tried. "But I'm not doing this," my date replied. "You're the one who came home with me." "You did something to those people," I said. I couldn't even look at them. I couldn't admit to myself that I was going to end up like that. "On my life, they did it to themselves," my date said, crossing his heart. He sat down next to me and I backed away to the wall. "You're lying. You did it to them, but you're not going to do it to me. I won't let you." "Look, I'll prove it," he said. "You're free to go anytime you want." This was a trick, right? He wasn't going to let me just walk out of here. Not after everything he's done, everything I've seen. What was the point? Or maybe he really was insane, and I would be passing on my one chance to ever get out. "What about them? Can they leave?" I asked. "No, you're the only one." He smiled. Creepy-ass smile. "If I do ever get out of here, first thing I do is give Tinder a 1-star rating." "Why? What's so special about me?" "We matched up because we're alike. You're going to bring me more people, and when you leave, you're going to return with more people to play with." I glanced back at the others against the wall. I would never, but I had to play along. My only chance of helping them was to first get out myself. I nodded. "You're right. I'll be your queen, and I want my kingdom to grow. See you soon. Don't come alone." And that was it. He let me climb right up the ladder and walk out the front door. Smug bastard, thinking he's got me figured out. Although, he'd be right, of course. I would be back, and I would be bringing someone with me. This isn't some movie. I'm not a macho action star, and I'm not about to run in there guns blazing and save those people. Guns? All I've got is a stapler that can hit someone in the face from 6 feet away. Don't ask how I know that. I did what any sensible human being would do and went to the police. I've never actually stepped inside a police station before in my life. My only experience with the cops at all is a speeding ticket that the guy in front of me totally deserved, but somehow I got stuck with. Going in now, I felt almost guilty, like I was the one who had done something wrong. But there wasn't time to be self-conscious.
"Can I help you?" the sergeant on late-night duty asked languidly. She was the kind of cop that made me want to try shoplifting just for fun. If I couldn't outrun that 250-pound bag of marmalade, then I deserved to get caught. There was a little boy and a surly old lady waiting in line at the desk ahead of me, but I shoved past them. I don't care what they lost or whose neighbor has a dog that won't stop barking. I'm willing to bet it doesn't beat a devil who tortures people. "I need your help. I was kidnapped tonight." She looked me up and down as though she were doing me a favor. "It's okay, let her go ahead," the little boy said. I didn't take my eyes off the cop. "Uh-huh. Please tell me what happened," she replied. "It was after a date. I went home with this guy." "So you voluntarily left with him?" I know that face. That's the "you're prettier than me, so you must be a slut" face. "I did, but then he threw me into his basement. I might have broken something." I was flustered. I didn't know what I was supposed to say in this circumstance. Why did it feel like I was the one on trial? It was just now when I noticed the bruises were gone. My shirt was clean. The abrasions on my wrists from the handcuffs had vanished. There's no way they could have healed that fast. "And how did you escape?" "Well, he let me go." "This isn't right. This isn't how this is supposed to go." "So let me get this straight," the cop replied, shifting her tremulous weight like she was apologizing to her chair. "You went home with a guy and then you left. What exactly did he do wrong?" "You don't understand. He had 3 other people down there too. He'd been torturing them." Torture. Now that's a powerful word. I don't know exactly what forces these guys to get out of their chair, but I'm pretty sure torture should do it. There was a middle-aged woman, a college girl, and this little boy. I finally had her attention. She sat upright and began taking notes. "What kind of torture?" "Brutal stuff. The lady's eyes were out and there was a nail through the girl's hands. I didn't get a good look at the boy." "How old was he, compared to the boy behind you in line?" I looked back and my heart skipped a beat in my chest. I hadn't noticed because of my rush, but the boy standing behind me was the same one who was hunched over in the devil's basement. Clean, well-fed, unharmed. But it was the same damn kid. The boy smirked. "Ma'am, was the boy you saw about his age? Come with me. The 2 of us are going to have a little chat." What else could I do? The police weren't going to take me seriously. Not with 2 of the kidnapped people standing in their station just fine. I don't know what kind of sick game I found myself in, but when the boy walked out the door, I followed. I'm not going to lie, I was getting close to tears at this point. It felt like when you were a child trying to convince your mother of the monster under your bed. And as much as she tried to play along, you could tell she didn't believe you. She was just dying to get back to sleep and leave you alone with it. The helpless frustration of knowing something is out there, but being utterly helpless to do anything about it. The only difference is that my devil is real, and he was going to kill those people if I couldn't stop him. The only question is, why had he let the little boy go? Or me, for that matter. The boy was walking quickly. He kept looking over his shoulder at me to make sure I was following, looking at me with wide, terrified eyes. Now he was running.
I chased him out of the station and straight across the street. A pickup screeched to a halt and blared its horn, and I dashed in front, too. Screw you too, dude. I wasn't about to let my only explanation get away from me. The little boy ducked under the guardrail on the side of the road and began sprinting down the grassy slope on the other side. He actually looked like he was trying to get away from me now. Shit, if anyone saw us, it would look like I was the one trying to kidnap him. For once, I was glad it was the middle of the night. He slid down the rest of the hill and darted into a concrete drainpipe. I was finally gaining on him, and before he made it out the other side, I managed to wrap my arms around his waist and hold him still. It was dark in here. The streetlights didn't reach this far down. All I could see was the terrified little boy and the concrete around us. "Let go of me! Let me out!" he screamed. "What are you talking about? You're the one who told me to follow." "No, I didn't. Let me go." "Do you promise not to run away?" "How could I? The door's locked, so let me go." "The door? What door?" I let him go and he collapsed to the ground. He crawled over to the wall and pressed himself there, glaring fierce little daggers at me. "Tell me how you got out," I demanded. I took a step toward him, but stopped when he crawled farther along the wall. He must be traumatized after what he went through tonight. I shouldn't try to push him. "Leave him alone, you brute!" A woman's voice. Someone was here? I jumped backwards, and my back rammed into something. I flailed in the air to keep my balance and hit a switch with my hand. A light turned on. Who would put a light in a drain pipe? But I wasn't in the drain pipe. I was back in the basement. The concrete walls, the boy cowering in the corner, the woman with the bloody eyes standing over him. Even my date from earlier tonight was here, only now his eyes were hollow and weary, his skin gaunt and tight. It looked like he had been down here for a long, long time. The only one I didn't see was the college girl.
Okay, what the hell is going on? My whole body was starting to shake. The way they were all looking at me, it was like they thought I was the devil. But I was a victim too. Why didn't they see it? "Weren't you enough for you?" the woman asked. "Why did you have to bring a little boy?" "The boy was already here. He was here before me," I screamed. I must seem even more like a monster for screaming, but I couldn't help myself. "Don't let her hurt me," the boy cried. I didn't do any of this. It was him." I pointed at the man. "I knew you'd be back," he said, winking. This was all still a game to him. "The boy wasn't here until you brought him. I just gave you a glimpse of your future." "But the other girl my age." There was no time to finish my question. He was on top of me now, pinning me to the ground. He pressed my face into the concrete and put his knee in the center of my back. I screamed as he pulled my arms behind me, then the searing pain in my hands. I couldn't see what was going on, but it was easy enough to imagine the nail sealing them together. I had already seen what was going to happen. I just didn't know it would be happening to me. I got out 3 more times since then. The first time he let me go, I was free for about an hour. I hitchhiked and drove as far from town as I could get. It wasn't until we stopped that I realized my driver was wearing a mask, that he was the same devil I met on Tinder. We were back at his house, and he dragged me back down into the basement. The second time I escaped while he was sleeping. The door was unlocked, which seemed too easy to be real. I was right. I went to the hospital to get the nail out of my hands. I told them not to put me under, but they insisted on using anesthesia during the surgery. When I woke up, I was back in the basement. The nail was gone, but it looked like it was roughly pulled and I didn't have any bandages, so I'm not sure if I ever really made it outside. This time I stayed in the house.
I went upstairs and found a phone and a computer. I tried calling the police again, but the line didn't go through. Now that the nail is out, I'm able to write this to have some record of what is going on. I don't know if this is real or not, but I want to have something I can check to see if I ever got out of that room at all. I don't know exactly where I am. Somewhere in the Houston suburbs. He's going to come for me again soon, and I'm going to wake up back in the basement. He says he'll let me out again if I return with more people, but I know I'll only end up back here with them. Right now, I'm strong enough to resist, but sooner or later, I'm going to break and do what he says. I don't know how to warn you, but I just want you to know if you meet someone online and he seems too good to be true, then he probably is.